There we go. Happy Thursday, everybody. Namaste. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana, and tonight is my usual Thursday night tarot talk. I'm going to be opening a new deck today that I received as a gift, and just talking about spring, decks for spring, how I choose decks for spring, work with decks for seasons, and so forth. And we'll just take the conversation from there. Yeah, so I hope you are enjoying this transition into the next season, wherever you are in the world. Those of you who are in the Southern Hemisphere, transitioning, of course, into autumn. And I think as our tarot community and world gets smaller and smaller, just to have that understanding, you know, we're not all in the same season, the same day, the same time as other people. It's kind of mind-boggling, and it's hard to figure out, but I'm going to be talking about my perspective from where I live. I live on the west coast of Canada, so very close to Vancouver, British Columbia. And where I live, I'm near the coast, so I'm not in the mountains at all. So the snow I can still see on the mountains, but it is starting to show signs of spring here. Yeah, it feels a lot different. Birds are singing, different birds are out. That's the first thing I noticed. And today I saw my first skunk cabbage, which I miss. I used to live in Whistler. I raised my kids there, lived there for 25 years. And the skunk cabbage was always very plentiful there. So I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Hello to Gerald, the Hermit Mage, Andrew, Well-Tempered Claire, Kristen, Louise, Taro, hello. Mary Beth, hi there. And Jen is here. Jen, Science to Soul Tarot and Transformation. Hi, Jen. And Danielle's here. Hi, Danielle. All right, and anybody else in the background I haven't said hi to, welcome, welcome. And Gerald, who is in the chat, sent me a gift. And this is just an amazing extension of a reading that we had together. And he very kindly messaged me after our session and asked if he could send me this. And it was just, it's really, really beautiful, a beautiful thought. So I want to thank you for your generosity. I haven't opened it yet. I remember seeing this deck, I'm going to get it wrong now, the name of the deck. I'm going to have to go look at the title of the video. The WilderWoven Tarot. And I believe it was on Kasha's channel that I first saw it. I haven't checked the year that it came out. And I was really, really intrigued with this deck. And I didn't realize at that time, I'm just going to add the deck to the stream. Let's go to maybe this one for now. I didn't realize that the creator of this deck lives in Nelson, British Columbia, and I have quite a connection to the southeastern corner of British Columbia. That's where the ashram is that I go to. That's where my teacher, who is associated with the Satyananda lineage, that's where she built with her husband the Ishtadev Niwas ashram, where I started the more spiritual aspect of my yoga journey. And so in Nelson, which is really close to there, like I really understand the landscape. I've done lots of karma yoga, lots of working in the garden and things with the animals and so forth outside in that part of the world. I have woken up dawn, sunset, you know, looking at the Rocky Mountains, and it's really an incredible part of the world. So it's beautiful that this deck that I'm opening tonight comes from the province where I live, that the artist is here, that I'm also connected to the earth and the land where the deck was created. So it's an amazing, all these synchronicities, really beautiful. Okay. I'm here. I'm not sure what happened. Sorry about that. All right, so let's look at this beautiful packaging and go to this deck. Do any of you have this? I know there's a few walkthroughs of it on YouTube. I really like Greg's art. It's really something. And this little sticker came with it. And the postcard of the mouse, which I believe is the Hierophant. So yeah, and so this is really a message to Gerald. Thank you so much for your order and for supporting my art. I hope you enjoy your new tarot deck. Warmly, Greg. And his website is gregorywhite.ca. Yeah. Okay. And I did bring my knife. So it has the wood, almost like birch, you know, that's what it looks like sometimes. Oh, and there's no plastic on it either. Fantastic. This looks like larger cards because it's a larger box, and I will show you how big the cards are. It's a decent sized book, all in English, of course. And we'll have a look at that in a little bit. Okay. So it's a two-part box, and these are the wood grain backs. And I'll just show you before we start. I'll just grab a tarot deck. What is standard size here? Well, of course, I have the Wildwood on the table. So that is how much bigger it is. So it's more of an oracle size deck, and I will shuffle it at the end and show you how easy or difficult it is to shuffle. And so each of the cards is held within a frame. And in the major arcana, the shape of the frame is related to the animal that is in the that is featured here. So we have a nest, right? Beautiful, beautiful image for the Fool card. Love this little window here that looks out through the wing of the bird. And then we have the bear, or this might be the fox standing up on two legs, actually, now that I think about this. That is very, very cool. For the Magician. And what kind of whale is that? That is the blue, if Jonathan here, he can tell me. Those are the blue whales like you see off of Maui. Don't see them here very often. Hi, Nancy, Paper Moon Tarot. West Star Tarot Liz, hi there. Kathy Kerr, hello. And the bunny for the Empress, which is so perfect for this season. This is going to be one of my spring decks that I will be using. I just think it's really beautiful. The Emperor is a crab. And the mouse, which you saw on the postcard, is the Hierophant. And within the windows of each of these cards, there's all these beautiful little clues to work with. And here we have a bookshelf and what looks like cherry blossoms, right? Cherry blossoms in the Lover's card. Sweet, maybe apple blossoms or other peach blossoms. And the Chariot is the snail. Oh, and it's got the morning glory, both colors of morning glory in the background. I'll see if I'll zoom in just a little bit more so you can see. And then Strength is the hummingbird. Of course, I'll read you a couple of the descriptions from the guidebook. Oh, here's the bear. So yeah, so that was the fox for the Magician, and the Hermit is the bear. And we have a polar bear in the inside. And the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune is another, so we have the bear inside, and then we have a whale on the outside, or a fish. Spider for justice. Bat. Yes, the Hangman is a bat. And there is a human, it looks like, inside there. It looks like inside a cave. Death is a snake, which is great for the transformation, right? For the skin being shed. I'll look at it in the camera instead of looking down. And then the frog for temperance. And the devil is like an Arctic fox. And if you look inside, there's a, is that blood? It's blood. It looks like something has been killed there. The tower is a scorpion, I'm guessing. Ooh, and the star is a, what's that? A lunar moth. It's really beautiful. The moon. What is this? What is this? So inside we have, oh, it's a bat. Both, it's a bat inside and outside. And then the sun is an eagle, which is perfect, right? That's just perfect. Judgment is a grasshopper. There's dandelions inside. Ooh, let's read this one. This is very cool. Okay, so judgment. Mercy, release, revival, and forgiveness. I've never used a keyword mercy for this. Fields of dandelions at the end of their cycle scatter their seeds to the winds. They softly rise into the sky like souls ascending to the heavens. It is time for you to release feelings of sadness, guilt, and regret about the past. Know that every beautiful misstep has setback has been necessary to guide you to this significant stage of your journey. The weight you carry served you at one point, but it may now be holding you back. Release the burden to enable you to move forward wholly unhindered. The Judgment card suggests you are being called to fulfill your highest potential, but you must listen closely to hear the message. The praying mantis is a symbol of mindfulness and meditation. Embrace these practices to tune into a higher frequency and achieve understanding of your new purpose. And there's a brief reversed meaning as well, too. Okay, I'm just going to your comments here. Yes, it might have been a salmon. I should really, you know what, I'm gonna keep the book open, and then, well, you know what, I'll figure it out later, because I want to go through this quickly, because we're going to look at other decks for spring, and I'm going to talk about selecting decks for spring. And then the world is a turtle. I really love this deck. So for the Suit of Cups, we have a raindrop, and there's a scene inside each of the raindrops. So we have a fountain in the center of a garden, and a fountain in the center of a larger pond. That's really beautiful. The otters. Oh, Seven of Cups is the seashells. That's beautiful. That's a pretty joyful Ten of Cups. Have you ever seen the orcas playing? It's out in the wild. It's really something. Page of Cups is a seal pup. Knight is a narwhal. I'm so glad there's a narwhal on this deck. I think the narwhal is a great animal. And then we have a beluga whale for the queen. So this deck is Page, Knight, Queen, King. And the King of Cups is a walrus. And for pentacles, we have an upward facing triangle. And that, of course, it looks more like a tree to me. That's a stunning tree in the center. Looks Looks like a squirrel. This is going to be a real, I'm definitely going to be using this deck for spring. Wow. And I will also look to the book to see if there's a reason why Greg has put the deck in this particular order, because kind of an unusual order to have cups and then pentacles, and then we'll see what the other ones are. 7 of Pentacles, gathering things. Very sweet Page of Pentacles. So Knight of Pentacles is a mountain goat. It's kind of perfect. Queen is the deer. And the stag is the king. I just love the aspen and the birch trees. They're really something. And you know what we've got here also? We've got a little bit of fire up here at the top. And I'm wondering if intentionally we have the, I'm just looking to see if the elements are built into the court cards as well. I'm going to have to have a close look at that. And then we have swords. I really like that Ace of Swords. That's, you know, it's kind of like that sword in the stone kind of energy. Most of the time, the Ace of Swords is facing up, right, towards the sky. In the Tarot de Marseille, it's piercing a crown. This has a kind of a unique energy to it. Two of Swords. So what is this? Oh, so there's an owl. And there's a bunch of swings that are created by the swords. That's kind of fun. And so 6 of Swords, the birds are leaving from the forest fire. That's kind of clever, hey? And then 7 of Swords. This is definitely a deck to be read for me intuitively, because it's not entirely based in RWS. That is a stunning painting. That's a really stunning painting. Wow. I love that color of red. The Page of Swords. And so we have the Heron at the Queen of Swords. Interesting. And then the King of Swords is maybe a falcon. And then the last suit is fire. So yeah, so kind of, I'm really curious, but I'm not going to take the time now to look and see if he has a reason for that. And Gerald, I'm just going to go to Gerald's comment here. So that'll be interesting to have an oracle deck to go with that. Yeah. Okay, so let's just breeze through this and then we'll test out. Oh, the 2 of Wands. That's so sweet. I love caterpillars. Okay, so we have the caterpillar, then we have the chrysalis, and then we have the butterfly. That's kind of, I like that a lot. That really, that works beautifully. The 5 of Wands. So each of the ants has looks like a dandelion spore. Very interesting. 6 of Wands. We have some kind of beetle. Maybe if I look here, I can see better. Some of them are easier to tell what they are than others. So within the fire, within the flame of the Eight of Wands, again, it looks like a transition with the bugs. And then, yeah, oh, the backgrounds are absolutely gorgeous. And I will need to look, of course, at the insects. So it appears we have insects in wands. And we have a grasshopper for the page. And some other kind of moth. That is gorgeous. I like that one. That's stunning. And then the queen. And the king. The king is a dragonfly. And then, ooh, an extra card, Tree of Life. And the messenger. And there we go. That is the deck. Okay. Let's add Sadhana back to the stream. There we go. Okay, so I want to go back and just see. Okay, so actually let's look at the cards and then we'll go and talk about decks for spring and how you choose your decks for spring. All right, I'm going to take out the 4 extra cards or the 3 extra cards. And I'm going to wipe my hands on my dress because they're sweaty. Okay. It's not hard to shuffle. It's like the cardstock is playing card quality, and I can easily shuffle these. No problem. Let's back out a little bit. Yeah, they're not. The thing is, when they get larger, if they are, they're a little bit stiff, but I can tell they're gonna break in nicely. These are easier to shuffle than the deck I cracked open the other day, which is the Botanica. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so no problem with the shuffling. No problem at all. Okay. Well, thank you, Gerald, for that. I'm very touched, and it's definitely a deck that I will use. I have to say, of the animal decks in my collection, I like this one a lot. Maybe more than. I don't tend to use my animal decks other than the wild unknown. So this one, I'm definitely intrigued. Love the colors as well too. So I see I'm tagged. I'm just going to go back and see if there's any other tags from Danielle. Oh, there was only 2 extra cards. The Tree of Life. The Tree of Life and the Messenger. Thank you so much. I will put that King of Wands back in there. Okay. All right, I'm going to scoot on down to the bottom. Paula's here. Excellent. Okay. And I don't know the story why this is Brant's deck, but maybe you can share, or maybe I can go onto Brant's channel and find out why this is Brant's deck. Okay, so I thought we could spend a little bit of time talking about spring, using decks for the season. And also, I want to let you know that I have a whole course on this topic, a whole course that talks about cycles of life, cycles of the year, how to work with the seasons and the energy of the elements and the seasons and do all this together. And that is the project of Read With Me Too. And it was a really fun group last time, and I shifted up the course a little bit, and it just worked really, really well. So if you like what we're talking about tonight, please give the video a thumbs up and send me a message, or go to my website and sign up for Read With Me too, because this is just it's a really, I think it's more than decorating your tarot table with decks that fit the season. I think there's a reason for using decks that feel energetically in alignment with what's going on right now. So as an example, you know, in the spring, I mean, you just put into the chat some of the associations you have with spring, and it's going to be different for everybody depending on where you are. And you know, there's a discussion about what is the element, what is the suit that matches the season of spring, and it depends entirely on your experience and where you live. If the spring is rainy season, if the spring is flood season, you know, you're going to relate to the cups in spring. And if you associate the suit of wands with the initiation and the new life and the new growth, then wands is going to be your go-to for spring. And there's arguments for any of the suits in pretty much any of the seasons. And I am not attached to that. What I am attached to is that you, as a reader, understand why you have those associations, and that you work with certain decks and you allow those decks to tell your stories. It may also be, I'm opening the Victorian Fairy Tarot. I know this deck is out of print. I don't know if it's, I think the Russian version is still available on eBay. I have the Russian version, which is actually kind of nice. The color's a little more saturated. What I'm showing you here is the French version, and I think it is also out of print. I really, really hope that one day this deck comes back into print. But this deck, if you've never seen it, is one that you have a really clear delineation of the seasons. And so we're talking about spring today, but so winter, Ace of Swords is winter, and it's an icicle. And so there's your Ace of Autumn, which is an apple. And I'm just going to go to the suit of wands, because that's what we're talking about. So the suit of wands is the suit of, just a second, there we go, spring. So it's called the suit of spring. And it's called, and even within the major arcana, you have this beautiful reflection of seasons. And so there is your 5 of spring. And in working with the seasons, this is a great deck to have out. This is a great deck to use if you are just there's your ace, so your first blossoms. If you're not used to doing tarot timings, if you can find a deck like this one, this is a great kind of deck to use if you're new to using that. There's the Messenger of Spring. I can zoom in a little bit so you can see these better. Yeah, I kind of love this deck, and I'm actually going to leave it out. This deck to me feels very, very spring-like. I love the spring element, and I like the way that it talks to the seasons. Okay. Kristen, did I say hello to you? Jonathan is here. Hey, Jonathan, aloha, welcome. And Andrew pulled out Telluric for spring. Okay. Very bright, vivid colors, maybe with the flowers. Yes, there's a lot of flowers in that deck. That makes perfect sense. And Jonathan pulled out Oak, Ash, and Thorn. Yes, that is definitely a deck that totally understand why that would be associated with spring. One of the things with spring that I love are the soft, the pastel colors. And this particular deck is the Other Kin Tarot by Cielo Thompson. And I love having this out. Let's see what Kristen says here. I don't think I have. Yeah, the Wildwood definitely would work for spring. And so the reason for choosing a deck associated with a season would be that you just feel you have to work less hard in your readings is one reason. Because the deck already is speaking to the energy of what is going on. I love this Page of Pentacles. And one of the reasons I feel this deck, I'm going to switch because there's a bit of a shadow. One of the reasons I feel this deck works so well for spring is the colors. Also I don't know, I like the watercolors. It feels light and fun. It's not a deck I use very often. I usually have it out, you know, for a month or 6 weeks, and then around the springtime. It reads really well. It's a really fun deck to work with. Let's see what everybody else is doing here. I saw Vision Quest. The artwork is stunning in Vision Quest. Yes. Who was that? Oh, that's Andrew. Yes. It also has a summary. It could work for summer as well, too. I think it's got that striking, intent, more saturated colors. And Danielle's just pulled out her other kin as well, too. Tarot of the Mystical Moments. Yes, that would feel kind of nice for spring, I think. I don't have that one. Let's go to, let's just get a couple more. So yeah, so it's very charming deck. I think within my tarot collection, there's certain animal decks that feel springy. And I have a deck here that I only pull out if I'm doing a reading for like a young kid. Don't do too many of these readings. Infrequently. And this definitely feels like spring colors to me. The Animal Wisdom Tarot. It has another name right now, right? It's called, if somebody can put into the chat the new name for this deck, because I don't think you can buy this deck as Animal Wisdom anymore. But it's exactly the same deck. I did a video on this deck thinking that I was purchasing a new deck by this creator. And then it turned out it was exactly the same deck. So this is by Dawn Brunk or Brunk. I'm not sure how, shadow, let's go again this way. Yeah. And so this is a very light, also I would put Spirit Song here as well too. I forgot to pull that one out. Spirit Song feels very, very springy to me. The light pastel colors. Have any of you ever done readings for like 11-year-old children or, I don't know, younger children? And I know a lot of adults like this deck as well too. It's definitely not a go-to deck for me, but the pastel colors really work for spring. Let's see. Oh, Cielo Thompson has a new animal creature deck coming out this year. Well, I don't know if I will be shopping, but I, of course, will have a look at it. Replacement cards. Yes, it is. I was not able to replace one of my cards for the one I lost for my Wildwood. Yeah. So I'm sure you've all seen this deck many, many times. Yeah. So kind of pretty for spring. What I was going to show you was this fairy deck as well too. There's something about fairies and spring. And I have both versions of this deck. I have the bordered version and the borderless. And I spent quite a bit of time with this deck when I first got it. This is the Mystic Fairy Tarot. And if you like storytelling, if you like decks with stories, this is a brilliant deck because there is a story built in within the minor arcana in each of the suits. And it has its whole other layer and level. Now, if you purchase just the little box, right? If you just get the little box, you don't get the stories. You have to get the large deck in the large box to get the stories. And I narrated each of these stories. So really early in my channel, you can find each of the stories narrated by me. Yeah, so I really feel this is a springy deck, and I prefer the bordered deck of the Mystic Fairy Tarot. Hi, Tamsin, welcome. All right. You're going to play it back. Okay. Stay with us. Stay with us now so you can stay with us in the chat. And you're talking about Apollo's watch. That's still not working well. Let's go. Oh, Jen left. Okay, I didn't see when Jen left. And Paula likes the herb crafter for spring. I get that. Yeah, I tend to pull my herb crafter out in summer because that's when I tend to do more foraging and working with the herbs. But I can understand why herb crafter would be out in the spring as well too. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of put some of these. So that's the Mystic Fairy Tarot, which is a really fun deck to work with. The other thing about having decks out for the season is that rotating them is really kind of fun. I have been back and forth in a million directions with Tarot of the Divine, and to decide where this one kind of fits in the seasons. And I really like this deck. I think that the creator, what is her name? Yoshi. How can I forget that? Yoshi Tani did such a good job in choosing the stories that go with each of the cards. The orange colors are, to me, kind of summery. There's a lot of oranges and blues in this deck, but there's also a lot of outdoor nature scenes. And so I think this one could either be summer or spring. Looking at it now, I'm feeling more, I don't know, it's got a really interesting color palette. Okay, let's go up. I see some responses and good comments here. I stopped looking for spring decks after I started using the WilderWoven. Yeah, it's stunning. And I think that it's just going to fill a lot of boxes. It's going to fill a lot of boxes. Okay. And then, okay, so maybe some of you can chime in on this question. Andrew's asking, what season would Ancestral Path be? I'm not going to take the time to go and get it. Ancestral Path. Maybe winter. Maybe winter. I'm thinking winter, but maybe I should go get it and look at it just because we're having this conversation. There we go. This beautiful deck by Sophie McKnight, I feel works really well for spring. It's just such gorgeous, gorgeous colors. It feels like an Easter basket. I mean, there is a lot of, you know, noir, but the cards that are colored to me just feel like exactly like that, like an Easter basket. Nancy says tarot Zilic is spring-like. I don't have that one either. I was also going to pull out Tarot de Maria Celia. To me, Tarot de Maria Celia feels very, I love those purples and greens. And again, it feels kind of like Easter. This is the comment I wanted to go to. So I think this is a really interesting conversation. Why would I do a reading for somebody who is so young? This is the Painted Tarot, by the way, the Painted Tarot by Sophie McKnight. And I believe I've only done it 3 times. And the reason was the parent brought the child in. And in each of those cases, the child was deeply spiritual, deeply connected, and was needing some guidance to work with their clairaudience or their clairvoyance. And I had the privilege of one of those children I worked with multiple times, and it was really beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So I just like looking at these paintings. They're so gorgeous. And Kristen is commenting on the ancestral path. You think of summer and ancestral work in the autumn. Gerald had a really good comment when we were doing this course, and he said that, I mean, the veil is thin at Samhain, but there's also a quality at Beltane, 180 degrees on the other side, that feels there's a different aspect to the thinness of the thinness. No, Beltane, is that the right one? June, July, August, September, October. Yes, Beltane, May 1st, November 1st, Samhain. Yes, so there's something about that. But for me, the energy of, yes, I think ancestral work in the fall is a really good pair. But artistically, looking at the deck, that I would need to look firsthand. Yeah, and you know what also, Gerald, I feel that kid was so lucky to have a parent that was open and that was so open to that, you know. I was just looking at the Numinous Tarot. The back of the Numinous Tarot looks very Eastery, but I'm not sure that I would associate it with any particular season. And then, so let's put you away. You're staying out. Then there's this purple deck. Now, I know a lot of you have the Yonasa Yaus in different variations and different colors, but the purples and the greens of this particular edition to me feels very spring-like. And I love the rain that runs through some of the cards. And my deck I also edged in purple. And so yeah, so this is gonna stay out for spring and spring readings. Look how nice it looks on my spring tablecloth as well too. I considered getting the green version of the deck, but you know, I don't need it. I can work with this one. What do you think about the Yonasa Yaus? About the coloration and things? Let's go to up here. Paula says, my kids do readings for their friends using my cards over time. So it's good to have a variety of decks suitable for kids when they visit. Yeah, and I do. I have a few that I did a video on decks that I recommend for working with children. Okay, so good. So yeah, so that was Gerald that that talked about that. Supportive parents are golden. Right. This is what you said. So the veil at Beltane looks into the future. The veil at Samhain looks into the past. Mm-hmm. And then Andrew says that he just pre-ordered the jumbo edition. I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on cutting the borders. I have 2 copies of this version. I just it is a all young women, body beautiful deck, but there's something beyond that that I really I like in this deck. There's a few cards that really speak to my yogi self. Yeah, so that's the Inacios. That one's definitely staying out on my shelf for spring. And I like how thin it is and how it fits on the table. Okay, so I have a couple of others that could really go in a few. What else is around here? I've got the Gaian here. This is the Llewellyn version of the Gaian Tarot. This deck, I feel, is summer, spring, summer. It's definitely not early. It's not early spring. Maybe, yeah, I think I'm going to put this one away and save this one for summer. This is definitely summer. Okay, that's going back in the summer pile. I need to, there's a few decks that I would love to organize my tarot closet by season, actually. My tarot shelf. That would be fun. Of course, there's Ostara, which is, named for this particular season. This is not a deck that I use very often. I considered selling this deck. And then the reason I love the backs of these cards, the reason I kept this deck, it's something to do with the fact that it's created by local people. I love the backstory of the 4 artists that put the deck together. And I don't know, I think it's a great deck for conversation, if nothing else. It's a really good deck to pull out when you're teaching, because it has a lot of unusual and different things going on. Probably that cute little mouse in the Ace of Pentacles is my favorite card. I'm not sure that I really feel a spring energy with this deck. If I look at the palette of the cards, it's not light, right? It's almost, I feel maybe more of an intensity of summer. Like I'm looking at this one by my thumb here. It feels like a summer sky to me. So actually, you know what? I'm going to put this one away, and I'm going to take this one out in the summer as well too. So this is a bit of a process. So that one's going to go back. And then another one that kind of flip-flops around on my table is The Way Home. And I like this deck a lot. I like it a lot, and I just need to decide, because I want to have, I just need to decide if this is spring or summer. I think this is summer as well too. I mean, 7 of Pentacles is not, but yeah, this is going to go away. This is also going to be summer, because I only want to have, You know, it's fun. I do a lot of readings with a lot of different people, and it's nice to work with the same decks over and over and over. And even though I worked with them in different years, hi Aspasia and Masha, welcome. Aspasia is talking about the Stolen Child. Yes, Stolen Child is very, very springy, and I have the deck and I don't use it. I suppose maybe 1 year I will take the time to work with it. And my intention was to do a side-by-side study and a little bit of a deep dive with the William Blake Tarot alongside the Stolen Child, which is the inspiration for the Stolen Child. I know the poem, Keats's poem, is the inspiration for the deck, but it's based on the William Blake Tarot, which is a really, really amazing deck, an amazing creation. Yeah. So what other decks are you working with for spring? Can you let me know that? I will just see anything else. And yeah, I've worked with it a lot. I trimmed it. I was not happy with my trim job. I rehomed my trimmed one. I repurchased it. That's how much I like the deck. And yeah, so that one's, it depends like how many decks I want to have out on my table. And there's a few that I'm going to put away. I also pulled out this deck as well too. I don't know that this deck has a season. This is the Ember and Aura Tarot. And I think when people are asking deeply spiritual questions, this is such a beautiful deck to pull out. And it's a very soft color palette. You did, Alana. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Let's go see what else is going on here. And Krista's working with the textured, and the textured has all those lovely roses and flowers throughout. It's beautiful. Paula's doing a deep dive with Primordial. Yeah, it's a deck that really, really takes time to get to know. It would be an interesting side to side. Yeah. It's the concept of the different worlds, and there's so many layers that are built into the William Blake Tarot. And the creator of the Stolen Child, references his deck multiple times. Yes, and you know, oh my goodness, you know, if I had extra money, I would buy Jessica's deck. I love that deck. Andrew has shown it a couple times on his channel, and I have not seen a lot of people working with it. And that's definitely a deck that if I had extra ka-ching, I would purchase. But you know, looking at this color palette, I'm going to definitely leave this one out for spring. I love the softness of this deck, and so it's going to go right there. And there's a few that need to go away. And of course, the whole conversation of oracle decks. I'm going to leave out this oracle. Well, I'm not going to do oracle decks tonight, but I'm definitely going to leave this one out. This is a deck that was newer to my collection. For those of you that are working with the Vision Quest Tarot in the Facebook group, this goddess oracle deck is the Sylvie Guy in Winter, and Jose, sorry, I don't have their names memorized, the same creators. And so you'll recognize the artwork, right? That feels very, very springy. So this one is staying on my table. I really kind of like this one. It's very pretty. When I did Kwanzaa in December, the tarot tag by Queen Osette, and Veronica Rose. That's when I had another look at goddess decks, and I decided that I was going to revisit and start to work with the ones that worked for me. And I did a little bit of research looking at some of the older goddess decks, and that was one that came to my attention. Yeah. So let's just, I want to go back to where we are. I use the Ember and Aura to read for others. It's a great reader. Yeah, I have had really, really good readings with this one. And it's autumn. Yes, it's autumn down under, which I did acknowledge at the beginning of the video. Colder mornings and evenings already. Darkness of Light and the Wildwood. The Wildwood really is a deck for all seasons, isn't it? And Darkness of Light, definitely, for the shifting of the light. Daniel's working with the Purple Star. The Purple Star. I don't know what you are referencing here. I'm not sure what Gerald's talking about. The Mermaid Tarot by Lisa Robertson. Yeah. I tend to use my mermaid decks in summer. I have two. I have the Tarot de Serene and the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot. So I didn't purchase Lisa Robertson's deck when it came out a couple of years ago. It's a really pretty deck. Let's go down here. It's really beautiful, Alana. I know you're going to enjoy it. And of course, that deck is going to be in my, I didn't show it tonight because I did a walkthrough of it the other day. Mr. Andrew always asks really challenging questions. What season is the traditional RWS? What season is the traditional RWS? I know what I think. What do you think? I have an opinion. I'm just going to give you a couple seconds to put some things in the chat because I think this is a great question. I find this deck quite cerebral is not the right word. Detached. I tend to use the Robin Wood if I'm going to use a more RWS kind of deck. And I feel that like a Centennial Tarot, a straight up RWS would be autumn for its airiness. There's a lot of clouds. There's a lot of air. So I feel autumn with that deck. But I'm curious what all of you think about that. Yes, Starseeker. Yeah, Starseeker. I kind of feel Starseeker as a warm summer night, but that's entirely personal. Oh, you ordered it too. Okay, and Ethereal Visions and Art Nouveau is also springy, very gold, right? Starseeker is also purple. Yeah. So purple does work for spring. Okay, let's go down to the new Ethereal Visions Luna deck. That's another one I will have to look up. I don't have that one. Oh, everybody's just tempting everybody to go shopping. There's just so many. I did back the Cosmo Visions, and I have the big book, and I'm going to do some kind of a video over the weekend sharing my initial impressions, but I want to read through a portion of the book because I don't have Prisma Visions or or the other one. And so I want to know a little bit more before I do the video, because there's lots of walkthroughs of people unpacking their glorious boxes from James. So I'm gonna be doing some kind of a video over the weekend. Yeah, I totally agree with that one. Alrighty, let's see what Masha has to say here. Centennial is autumn, Blushing Fool and Radiant Wait are summer. The new US Games muted one is for winter. And she says, I'll go for CS for spring because it feels fresh for you. Yeah, I did purchase a CS. So maybe I'll have a look at that one to pull out for spring as well too. Blushing Fool and Radiant. Yes, because Radiant has those golden colors. So that totally makes sense. Thank you for that, Masha. I did not back La Flora Tarot. I am really trying to limit the number of decks that I am purchasing. All right, I think I have caught up. Music, and Masha's about to get her Cosmovisions. Yay. Yay. Okay, so yeah, so this whole idea about switching up your decks for the season, to me, it makes the readings, if you're working with somebody who is local to where you are, it really works. Now, if I was doing a reading for Jen or Masha or Paula, somebody who lives in the Southern Hemisphere, I wouldn't use a spring deck. I want to use a deck that's connected with the energy of where they are and what's going on for them, because the reading is about them and I want to feel that connection. And I don't always choose a deck that's connected for the season. Sometimes I will choose a deck that's better for the type of question that's asked. And so to have the luxury, to have the privilege of having a number of decks handy and out at my side is always, it makes things so much easier. And so I'm so grateful that I have that. And just a reminder, if you want to kind of work with me in depth on this topic, Read With Me 2 is in the shop of my webpage. So you can go there and sign up, and that class will be starting in the late spring, I believe. And I want to thank Gerald. I want to thank Gerald again for this beautiful gift. I'm just really touched by your generosity, and I feel, it's just gorgeous. And I'm going to be reading with it on Tuesday for sure, when I do my live readings on Tuesday. And I'm going to be reading with it all weekend, getting to know it. I have a few decks that I'm simultaneously getting to know, but I'm not going to put this away and wait to get to know it. I feel very connected to it already. That sounds like something that you would do, Andrew. Yes, it's a lot of work. Spazia changes hers by season. Hello, Salo. I'm just about to sign off. Thanks for checking in. Masha, yes. Eating seasonally, changing your teas and brews and all of that. I really find that eating locally is, it's so important. Okay. The chat just keeps on going. Yes, Gerald is amazing. And we have somebody new just come down in here at the bottom. Vera's Vision Quest. Hello. It's 4 o'clock in the morning here in Germany. Well, welcome to our chat. I am just about to sign off. And if you have any questions about upcoming courses or anything, please reach out. I'm usually pretty quick to get back within at least a day or two. And I look forward to seeing you again over the weekend as I explore a couple more new decks that have come to me. And I also, the whole Hanged Man series has kind of come to a pause. The next deck that I will be working with is the Marielle. And I'm going to be doing probably three videos, I'm guessing, on the Marielle. It's beside me here, and I'm starting to prepare my content for that. So that series will be continuing. And there's a lot of decks that are going to be a part of that series as well, too. Yeah. So take good care and have a lovely Easter for Northern Hemisphere folks. And for those of you that are transitioning into the fall, I wish you blessings and a happy and what do I want to say about Samhain? I find Samhain just so magical, so very, very magical, and the decorations and the fun with the kids and everything. So I want to wish everybody just, you know, a really joyful spring. We're not there yet, but I know that this whole energy of spring is with those two festivals. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye. And I'll see you all soon. Namaste.